Hello students, today I am going to discuss the first chapter, that is chemical reactions and equations. So in the previous classes you already learnt about the physical and chemical properties of the elements and atoms. How the matter will be existing in the three state. How the elements or particles are existing in solids, liquids and gases. Already you learnt in the previous classes. And next one, the combination of atoms and molecules, how the atoms are present in the molecules. These all things you already learnt in the previous classes. So what do you mean by the chemical reaction? Chemical reaction is nothing but a combination of two or more substances. Combination of two or more substances combined together to form a new substance, that is called as a chemical reaction. For example, cooking is nothing but it's a process of the burning substances. Here oxygen, in presence of oxygen the fire will be presence. Okay, next one, respiration. This is also one of the example for chemical reaction. Next one, rusting of iron. Rusting of iron means when you are allowed the iron for a long time, it catches the moisture content and it will be get oxidized. So oxidized form of the iron is called as a rusting. Next one, the formation of curd. With the help of the milk we can convert the curd, right? So the whole formation of the curd is nothing but a chemical reaction. So these are the some examples for basic chemical reactions. Okay, see here. So chemical reaction, it is nothing but the chemical reaction is a combination of one or more substances combined together to form a new substance. One or two substances combined together to form a new substance. That product substance is having different properties and different densities. So these kind of the reactions are called as a chemical reaction. The change of one or more substances, into other substance which having different composition and properties is called as a chemical reaction. Here example, when carbon is combined with the oxygen, it forms a carbon dioxide. The properties of carbon and the properties of oxygen, when these two are combined together, it form a carbon dioxide. Just you are observing here, carbon is in the state of solid form and oxygen is in the form of gaseous. When these two are combined together, it form a carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide is purely in the gaseous form. Okay, next one, when hydrogen is combined with oxygen, it forms water. Here hydrogen is in the gaseous form, oxygen is also in the gaseous form. When these two are combined together, it form a water. That water is in the liquid form. Okay, so each and every chemical reactions having some kind of the substances in which the combining substances are called as reactants. And when these two are combined, for example here carbon and oxygens are combining, no, so these two are considered as reactants. These two are nothing but reactants. When these two combine together and form a new product or new substance, that is called as a product. So the substances which involves or which combines together are called as reactants. Once they are combined together and form a new substance, that is called as a product. So chemical reaction involves two parts. First one is reactants and second one is product. Okay, see the next one, all chemical reactions are having two parts. All chemical reactions is having two parts. In that, first part is reactant. So what do you mean by reactant? The substances you start with. What you are taking, two substances, that is nothing but a reactants. The two substances you are going to be combined together, so these two substances are called as a reactants. Next one, second part is product. When the two substances are combined together, you get a one new substance, that is called as a product. So each and every chemical reaction starts with the reactants and ends with the product. So every chemical reaction starts with the reactants and end with the products. Okay, the reactants turns into product. So chemical reactions having two parts. First one is reactant and product. Okay, see in the next slide. In the chemical reaction, the atoms of the elements or the atoms of the compounds are combined together to form a new substance. For example, in the previous slide you are observed, when carbon is combined with oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide. Here carbon is the one atom and oxygen is the one atom. It's a oxygen molecule. It's a combination of two oxygen molecules, no, or oxygen atoms. Two oxygen atoms are combined together and form a oxygen molecule. Here when carbon is combined with the oxygen, it forms a carbon dioxide. So in the chemical reaction, two elements or two atoms combined together. So these two are combined together and form a one product, that is nothing but a carbon dioxide. Okay, next one, atoms are not created or destroyed. So this one you already learnt in the previous classes in the chapter atoms and molecules and structure of atom. We cannot create or we cannot destroy the atoms. Okay, next one, can be described several ways. So the chemical reactions we can represent in two ways. First one in the word forms and second one in the shortcut form. With the help of the symbols, with the help of the chemical formulas also, we can represent the chemical reactions. So first one is word and second one is with the help of the symbols. Here one examples here, copper. When copper is combined with the chlorine, it forms a copper chloride. So this is the one example for word equation. Okay, when chemical reactions are taking place, some changes will be occurs. So we need to understand what are the changes will be happens when two atoms or two elements are combined together. Some changes will be occur. Let's see one by one what are the changes we are going to observe in the chemical reaction. So this is the first activity. With the help of this activity, you get some ideas in the chemical reaction. Here in this figure you are observing the burning process. In this figure you are observing the burning process, right? So this is the activity based on the burning substances. Take a clean piece of magnesium ribbon nearly 2 cm long and dry with the help of sandpaper. Hold the ribbon with a pair of tongues and burn in the presence of air. The ribbon will burn and it releases heat and light. When it burns, it releases some kind of heat and light. As a result of burning ribbon, we are getting white powder or white ash. So that one we need to collect in the Chinese dish or watch glass. Chinese dish or watch glass. So when you are going to burn magnesium, when you are going to burn magnesium ribbon in presence of oxygen, so I already learnt in the previous classes, without oxygen we can't burn anything. So when magnesium is burned in presence of oxygen, we get magnesium oxide. So we get a magnesium oxide as a product, and white ash, finally we get the white ash powder. So that is nothing but a magnesium oxide. Okay, so with the help of this activity, we conclude that one, when the substance is burned in presence of oxygen, it will releases the heat and light. Okay, see the next second activity. So in this activity we are getting the some precipitation. So this is the example for precipitation reaction. So what do you mean by precipitation reaction? When two or more substances are combined together, it forms a solid precipitate. It means solid substances at the bottom of the container, that is nothing but a precipitate. Okay, so see the example. In this activity, we need to take two separate glass beakers. Dissolve small amount of lead nitrate in one glass beaker, and in another one glass beaker we need to take potassium iodide. So what are the two substances here? First one is potassium iodide and second one is lead nitrate. Potassium iodide and lead nitrate. So take two solutions. Okay, next, both these solutions are colorless. In presence of water. Now add the potassium iodide solution slowly to the next beaker that consisting lead nitrate. So in the first beaker you are going to take potassium nitrate, in the second beaker we are having lead nitrate, right? So we need to add potassium iodide to the lead nitrate. When we are going to add potassium iodide to lead nitrate, it will be slightly changes its color. We are observing here the yellow color will be formed, or yellow precipitate will be formed at the bottom of the beaker, right? So the yellow color will indicates that lead iodide. It does not dissolves in water and it forms the precipitation. Okay, so this reaction is called as a golden rain reaction. In the golden rain reaction, we are going to take two compounds, that is potassium iodide and lead nitrate. When these two are combined together, we get lead iodide as a product, and it is in the form of precipitation, yellow precipitation. Okay, so this is the second activity. In the first activity, we observed when the two substances are combined together, or when the substance is burned in presence of oxygen, we get a heat and light. So in this chemical reaction, we get a final product as a precipitate. Okay, see the next activity. So this is the third activity. So in this activity, we need to take conical flask and few granules. Few granules means fine pieces of zinc. Add to this dilute hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is nothing but a HCl. So first you need to take the zinc granules. Zinc granules means fine pieces, very small pieces of the zinc, and add some amount of the diluted hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is nothing but a HCl. And next one, either you can take HCl or H2SO4. What do you mean by H2SO4? H2SO4 is nothing but a sulfuric acid solution dropwise from the funnel. A reaction will immediately takes place. Bubbles of a glass will be evolves by the effervescence. Upon the touches, the flask is found to be heated. Once you are going to add HCl or H2SO4 to the beaker, the complete beaker will be get heated and it releases the heat bubbles. It means it is the best example for exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction means when the energy is released, from the reaction, we call it as an exothermic reaction. Or when the heat is released from the reaction, when two substances are combined together, no, it will release us the some kind of the heat. So these kind of the reactions, we call it as the exothermic reaction. And one more reaction is there, that is endothermic. Endothermic means it absorbs the heat. When two substances are combined together, it form a new substance with the presence of the heat only. It will absorb the heat and the product will be formed. These kind of the reactions are called as a endothermic reaction. Exothermic means in the exothermic reaction, heat is get released. In the endothermic reaction, the heat will be absorbed. Okay. So on the analysis of this reaction, the gas is evolved. That is nothing but a hydrogen gas. It is collected over the water because it does not dissolve in it. The solution is left in the flask is colorless. Here you are observing some colorless liquid will be present at the end of the reaction. So these are the some activities. With the help of these activities, we can characterize the chemical reactions. Okay, see in the next slide. So we already observed three activities. With the help of that activities, now we can characterize the chemical changes. When the two substances are combined together, it form a new substance. In between that, the chemical reactions are having some properties or some characteristics. So what are the characteristics? So first one is the production of light, heat and sound. So in the first activity only were observed, when the magnesium ribbon is burned in presence of oxygen, it releases the heat and light, right? Second one, production of gas not in presence of reactants. We are taking two substances, for example carbon and oxygen. When these two are combined, it forms a carbon dioxide. Finally we get a gaseous product, right? So this is the second property. Third one, a permanent change in color. In the second activity, in the activity of lead iodide, the lead iodide is completely change in the color. It forms the yellow colored precipitate, right? Next one, see the next characteristic, the production of precipitation. In which activity you are going to be observe this one? So when we are going to combine the potassium iodide and lead nitrate, we get a lead iodide as a yellow precipitate. That is nothing but a golden rain experiment or golden rain reaction. Next one, change in odor and taste. So when two substances are combined, the final product, what you are getting, the final product, the taste and odor of the final product is entirely different from the reactants. Next characteristic is change in density. Change in density means the quantity of the product is also changes. Next one, change in the temperature. So these are the few characteristics of chemical reactions. These are very important for your examination. Okay, see the next one, same concept, that is characteristics of chemical reactions. Some of the important characteristics of chemical reactions are, the first one is change of state. Change of state means here some chemical reactions are converted as a solid, some chemical reactions ends with a form of liquid, and some chemical reactions liberates as a gaseous form. For example, when hydrogen gas react with oxygen gas, it forms liquid, that is nothing but a water. In the previous slide you already observed, when hydrogen is combined with a oxygen, it forms a water molecule, right? So water molecule is purely in the form of liquid. Second one, change in the color. So best example, when iron nail is dipped in blue colored copper sulfate solution, the blue color changes into green. The entire blue color is changes into green color. Okay, so this is the best example in the chemical changes of color. Next one, evolution of gas. Evolution of gas means releases of the gas. When sodium reacts with water, bubbles of the hydrogen or bubbles of the sodium it get liberates, and hydrogen gas is get liberates. So this is the best example for evolution of gas. See the fourth characteristic, change in the temperature. When water is added to quicklime, the vessel becomes warm due to the evolution of heat. Okay, so this example you already feel in your homes, right? So see the next one, when potassium hydroxide KOH, potassium hydroxide is added to ammonium chloride, the vessels become cold due to the absorption of heat. So absorption of heat, what we call that? Absorption of heat is nothing but a endothermic reaction, and releases of the heat is nothing but a exothermic reaction. Exo means releases, endo means absorption. Okay, next one, formation of precipitation. In the last slide we already discussed the formation of precipitation. When the silver nitrate solution reacts with sodium chloride solution, it gives precipitation of silver chloride and sodium nitrate solution. So these are the characteristics of chemical reaction. Okay, so what are the characteristics? First one, when the two substances are combined together, it form a new product and it having some characteristics. That is, first one is change of color, means change in color. Second one, evolution of gas, and third one is change in temperature, and fourth one, formation of the precipitations. With the help of the activities we already learned these things. Okay, next one, chemical equations. So what do you mean by chemical equation? So chemical equation, it is nothing but a shorthand representation of the chemical reactions using the symbols and formulas of the substances involving in the chemical reaction. Already told you, the chemical reactions or the chemical equations we can represent in two ways. First one in the word forms, and second one with the help of the symbols. So a chemical equation is a symbolical representation of chemical reactions in the form of symbols and formulas. For example, here magnesium plus, when magnesium is added with oxygen we get a magnesium oxide. So how we are going to be represent in the form of symbols? Magnesium can be represented as a Mg, oxygen O2. When these two are combined together it form a MgO, 2MgO. so this is the balanced reaction. Okay, the substances that undergoes the chemical changes in the reaction, magnesium and oxygen, are called as reactants. These two are the two substances taking part in the chemical reactions and combining together. So these two combining substances we call it as a reactant. The new substance magnesium oxide, this is the new substance. When magnesium and oxygen is combined together it form a magnesium oxide. So the new substance is formed after the combination of magnesium and oxygen, that is nothing but a product. Okay, so this is the each and every chemical equation or each and every chemical reaction involving two parts. First part is reactants and second part is product. Okay, chemical equation. So equation we can represent in two ways. First one in word forms. Equation shows the changes of reactants to products through an arrow mark placed between them. For example, carbon, when carbon is combined with the oxygen it forms a carbon dioxide, right? So here these two are the reactants. When these two are combined together to form a product, that is nothing but a carbon dioxide. That product we need to indicate with the help of the arrow mark. Okay, the reactants are written on the left hand side with a plus sign between them. Here you are observing with the help of the example, right? So carbon and oxygen are the two reactants. We are going to add these two reactants, right? So the reactants are written on the left hand side. Again, the reaction have two parts, LHS and RHS. In the LHS part we need to write the reactants, in the RHS part we need to write the product. So the reactants are written on the left hand side with a plus sign between them. That plus sign will indicate the combination of these two reactants. And next one, the products are written on the right side, RHS side, with a plus sign between them. In some of the chemical equations we are having two or more products also. In that cases we take a plus sign. The arrow point towards the product and shows the direction of reaction here. So this arrow mark will indicate the direction of reaction. Carbon and oxygen are combined together, no? Once it is combined, what it forms? With the help of this arrow mark only we get a product. So it forms a carbon dioxide. So this arrow mark will indicate the direction of chemical reaction. Okay, next one, symbols we are using in the chemical reactions. We are using some of the symbols. So what are the symbols? First one, the arrow mark separates the reactant and products. The arrow mark separates the reactant and product. Next one, so how you can read the chemical reaction? When carbon and oxygen is combined together, when carbon reacts to form, when carbon reacts with oxygen, carbon reacts with oxygen to form what it forms? Carbon dioxide. So first one is the arrow marks separate the reactants and products. Here these two are the reactants and this one is the product. This is separated by arrow mark. And second one, it is read as a reactant to form. It is when the two substances or two reactants are combined together to form. These two are get reacts and to form carbon dioxide. The plus sign is indicated between the two reactants. This plus sign will indicate that these two substances will be get combined. Okay, next one. Once the substances are combined, it form a new product. The product either in the state of solid or liquid or gaseous. So we need to indicate that whether the product is in terms of solid, gaseous or liquid. So S means solid and G means gaseous form, L means liquid form. In solid we are having one more, that is crystal form. It is indicated with the help of Cr. So these are the some basic symbols we are using in the chemical reactions. See in the next slide, AQ, this is also one of the symbol we are using in the chemical equations. So AQ is nothing but a aqueous solution. Aqueous solution, when any substance is completely dissolved in water, that is called as a aqueous solution. For example, when sugar or salt dissolve in water, it completely soluble. So that solution we call it as a aqueous solution. For example, take a beaker that consisting some amount of the water and pour the sugar. The sugar crystals will be completely soluble after some time. You get a solution, right? So that solution is a aqueous solution. Next one, arrow mark, the upward arrow mark. This is the upward arrow mark. This upward arrow mark will represents the gas will be get liberates. The gas is get liberates. Okay. Downward arrow mark, it indicates that after the combination of the substances, precipitate is formed in the product. So downward arrow marks will indicate that the solid will be formed as a product. Upward arrow mark indicates the gases will be liberates after the end of the combination of the reactants, and downward arrow mark will indicates end of the reaction we get a solid product, that is precipitate. In the last slide we already discussed, right? So how the precipitate will be formed when we are combining two substances. Okay, so these also some of the symbols we are using in the chemical equations. Next one, see some more symbols are there. That is the first one, two-sided arrow marks. So this type of the arrow marks indicates reversible reactions. Next one, on the top of the arrow mark, if you are going to observe a triangle shape, that triangle shape is indicates that the heat is needed to complete the reaction. So this triangle mark or we need to write as a heat, shows the heat is supplied to complete the reaction. In presence of the heat only, that reaction will be complete and it gives the product. So triangle indicates heat is present in the reaction. See the next symbol, that is platinum, Pt, right, is used to indicate catalyst. It is used to indicate as a catalyst. So what do you mean by catalyst? Here in this figure we are using platinum as a catalyst. What do you mean by catalyst? Catalyst, it is nothing but a substance. It is also one type of the chemical, or it is also one type of the substance. With the help of this substance, we need to increases the rate of reaction. When we are going to add the catalyst in between the reaction, the rate of reaction is gradually increases. Okay, so see the definition of catalyst. Catalyst is a substance that speed up a reaction without being changed by the reaction. So it doesn't affect any chemical reaction. When we are adding the catalyst to any reaction, it increases the rate of reaction. Okay, enzymes are the biological or protein catalyst. Enzymes are the biological or protein catalyst. Okay, next one is writing symbols of physical states. The physical states of reactants, the physical state of reactants and products are mentioned along with their chemical formulas. Chemical formulas means we are using some specific symbols. For example, carbon is indicated with C, potassium indicated with K, oxygen O, next one chlorine Cl, right? So these are the some symbols. I think you already learnt in the previous classes, right? Atoms and molecules. So in the chemical reactions we are using atoms as well as molecules, a group of the atoms, right? The gaseous, liquid, aqueous and solid states of the reactions and products are represented by the notation. So how we are going to be represent? Gaseous is represent with the help of the Z, and liquids are represent with the help of L, and aqueous solution. What do you mean by aqueous solution? When any substance is completely dissolves in water, and it is completely soluble in water, that kind of the solution we call it as a aqueous solution. And the final one is solid. So solid is represent with S. Sometimes the reaction conditions such as temperature, pressure, catalyst, etc. are indicated above or below the arrow mark. So arrow mark will indicate the direction of reaction. Okay, see some examples. With the help of these examples we will get some ideas. Here the first example, in the first example we are having ethylene. So ethylene, what is the state of ethylene? Gaseous. It is in the gaseous state. When ethylene is combined with hydrogen, hydrogen is also one type of the gaseous form. So when these two gaseous are combined, it forms a ethane. So ethane is also in the state of gas, right? What is the chemical formula of ethylene? C2H4, hydrogen H2. When these two are combined, it form a ethene. The chemical formula of ethene is C2H6, and it completes the reaction in presence of nickel as a catalyst. And it needs some temperature also. So what is the required temperature? Around 250 degrees Celsius to 300 degrees Celsius. In presence of this temperature only the reaction will be takes place. Okay, see the next example. Nitrogen. So you already know the atmospheric air is consisting some different type of the gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and some inert gases. So here nitrogen is going to be combined with the oxygen. Nitrogen, it is in the form of gas and it is combined with the another gas, that is oxygen, and these two are combined together, it forms a nitric oxide. When nitrogen is combined with oxygen, it forms a nitric oxide. What is the molecular or what is the formula of nitric oxide? NO. Nitric oxide is also in the form of gas. Okay, see the third example. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. When carbon dioxide is combined with the water, when carbon dioxide is combined with the water, it forms a glucose and oxygen. So that is nothing but a photosynthesis process. In the presence of chlorophyll, the chlorophyll will absorb the radiations which is emitted from the sunlight. In presence of the sunlight the chlorophyll will absorb the radiation and it forms a food, right? So that is nothing but that process we call, what we call that process? Photosynthesis. So this is the example of photosynthesis. When carbon dioxide is combined with the water, it forms a glucose and oxygen. See the fourth example. Ammonium nitrate. It's a completely solid substance or solid compound. This ammonium nitrate is get liberates when we are supplying around 170 degree Celsius to 240 degree Celsius. When we allow the heat up to 170 degree Celsius to 240 degree Celsius, it breaks down into two substances. In that first substance is nitrous oxide and second one is water. So these two are the two substances we're getting from the ammonium nitrate. So with the help of all these examples, we conclude that what are the factors affecting on the chemical reaction. Here you are observing some of the factors that affect the chemical rate of reaction or chemical reactions. So what are the factors that affects the chemical reaction? First one is temperature. With the help of the temperature, we get a product. In some chemical reaction we need to supply the heat. Next one, it depends upon the size of the particles existing in the chemical reaction. Next, surface areas, and last one is particles contact, how the elements are combining, how the elements are going to be combined each other and it forms a new product. So these are the four factors that affect a chemical reaction. Okay, now when we are writing the chemical reactions, each and every reaction is not a completely balanced. So we need to balance the chemical reactions or chemical equation. So what do you mean by the balancing of chemical equations? Balancing of chemical equations means we need to balance the number of atoms which is present in the part of reactants and part of the product. It means the number of atoms present in the reactant is exactly equal to the number of atoms present in the product. Okay, see this one, balanced equation. So already now atoms cannot be created or cannot be destroyed. All the atoms we start with we must be end with these atoms only. For example, if I take carbon and oxygen, I'm going to combine these two and I get a product as carbon dioxide, right? So carbon and oxygen are the only two atoms are combined together. Finally I get the carbon dioxide as a product, that is nothing but a combination of carbon and oxygen. It means we are not getting any different atoms and as a product. Take one more example. When hydrogen and oxygen are going to be combined, it forms a water, right? So that water is also consisting hydrogen and oxygen elements only, or hydrogen and oxygen atoms only. So all the chemical reactions or all the chemical equations at start with the same kind of the atoms, and it should be end with the same kind of the atoms. Next one, a balance equation has same number of same number of elements or same number of atoms on the both side of the equation, so these type of the equations we call it as a balanced equation. Balanced equation means what? In the chemical equation or in the chemical reaction, the number of atoms present on the reactants and products are equal. So that is called as a balanced equation. See, next one, balanced equation. A chemical equation, a chemical equation need to be balanced, so that it follows the law of conservation of mass. I think you already learned in the previous classes law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass means what it says. The law of conservation of mass: atoms can neither be created nor be destroyed, but it can be transferred from one form to another form. So that is the law of conservation. A balanced chemical equations occurs when the number of different atoms of the elements in the reactant side is equal to that of the product side. Means a balanced equation is consisting equal number of reactants and equal number of products, equal number of atoms in the reactant part and equal number of atoms in the product part. Okay, so before going to balance the chemical equations, we're having some rules how we need to balance the chemical equation. See the rules. First one, write the correct formula for all the reactants and product. First one is write the correct formula for all the reactants and product. It means what we are going to be added as a reactant, we need to write the particular symbols and particular numbers, right? Second one, count the number of atoms of each type of the appearing on the both side. Third one, balance the elements one at a time by adding coefficient, the numbers in front of the atoms, and the last one is that is check to make sure it is balanced. It means after the end of the reaction we need to check whether the number of atoms present in the reactant and product are equal or not. Okay, see in the next slide, So in the balancing of reaction we are making some mistakes. So these are, first one is change a subscript to balance an equation. If you have changed the formula, you are describing a different reaction. And third one, H2O is a different compound than H2O2. H2O is a different compound than H2O2. And next one is never put a coefficient in the middle of the formula. For example, 2NaCl 2NaCl is okay, but Na2Cl, it's a wrong method. So these things we need to keep in our minds when we are going to be balance the chemical reactions. Don't be repeat these things in the balancing form of chemical reactions. Okay, so how we are going to be balance the chemical reaction? So how we are going to be balance the equation? With the help of the example, we need to understand this one. This is a reaction between methane. This is the reaction between methane and oxygen, producing carbon dioxide and water as a product. When methane is combined with the oxygen, it forms a carbon dioxide and water as a product. So here you are observing methane. What is the molecular formula of methane? CH4, and it is added with the oxygen. What it forms? Carbon dioxide and water. Now in this reaction we need to make a two parts. First one, reactant part, and second one is product part. And the first most, that is atoms. So what are the atoms present in this? Carbon is the first atom, second one hydrogen, and third one is oxygen. So these three are the atoms existing in the given reaction. So how many carbon atoms are there in the reactants? So in the reactants only one carbon atom is present, right? Here you are observing, right? Next, how many hydrogen atoms are present? 4 hydrogen atoms, and 2 oxygen atoms are present in the part of reactants. All these are combined together, it form a carbon dioxide and water, right? So just check the product, whether the number of atoms present in the product is equal to reactants or not. Again, see this one. At the end of the chemical reaction, we are having one carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms. Here you are observing 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms, 2 hydrogen atoms and 3 oxygen atoms. This is 1 oxygen atom and this one is the 2 oxygen atoms. So totally 3 oxygen atoms of oxygen and 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 carbon atom. The reaction shows is a combustion reaction. Later we will discuss what do you mean by the combustion reaction, decomposition reaction. Okay, so a compound reacts with the oxygen and produces the carbon dioxide and water. The technique is used to balance the carbon atom first, then the hydrogen atom, and then oxygen atom. So first we need to balance the carbon, next we need to balance the hydrogen, finally we need to balance the oxygen. Okay, we'll balance the given chemical reaction. Here in this case the carbon atoms are already balanced. Here you are observing in both side, in the reactant side and product side, we are having only one carbon atom, so it is completely balanced, right? Next one, carbon atom is completely balanced. So now we have look at the hydrogen, whether the hydrogen atom is balanced or not. Hydrogen, in the part of reactant we are having 4 hydrogen atoms. In the part of the product again we are having 4 hydrogen atoms, so it is also balanced. See the third one, there are 4 hydrogen atoms on the reactant side and two hydrogen atoms on the product side. To balance, then we put a coefficient of 2 in front of H2O. And here see this one, oxygen. In the reactant part we are having 2 oxygens, in the reactant parts we are having 3 oxygens right here. So this is the 2 oxygens and this is 2 oxygens. So totally we are having, in the previous slide we are having 3 oxygen atoms, but when we are balance this one we get 4 oxygen atoms. So we are adding 2 as a coefficient in front of the water. Okay, now the complete reaction is completely balanced. In the reactants we are having one carbon atom, in the product also we are having one carbon atom, 4 hydrogen atoms are present in the reactants, and the 4 atoms of hydrogen is present in the product. 2 oxygen atoms are present in the reactant. Similarly 4 oxygen atoms are present in the reactants. Okay, again here see the previous slide, oxygen is imbalanced, right? We are balancing first on carbon and second on hydrogen, but last one, observe this one, oxygen. In the reactant we are having 2 oxygen atoms and in the product we are having 4 oxygen atoms. So this is imbalanced. We need to balance in the next slide. The hydrogen atoms are now balanced due to the hydrogen atoms are balanced due to the coefficient of 2 in front of the water, in front of H2O. There are a total 4 oxygen. There are total 4 oxygen atoms on the products, right? So these are the 4 atoms on the product side. There are total 4 oxygen atoms on the product. To balance the oxygen atom on both sides, we put a coefficient of 2 in front of the oxygen molecule. In front of the oxygen molecule, the chemical equation is completely balanced. By adding this 2 coefficient in front of the oxygen molecule, we are getting a completely balanced chemical equation or chemical reaction. Now check the number of reactants and products. 1 carbon, again 1 carbon, 4 hydrogen atoms, 4 hydrogen atoms, 4 oxygen atoms, 4 oxygen atoms, right? So in the reactant and product we are having equal number of atoms in reactant as well as in product. Okay, so these type of the reactions we call it as a balanced reaction. See the next one example. So what is that? This is the second example. Okay, when coke or carbon is combined with the oxygen, it form a carbon dioxide. So just check whether this reaction is completely balanced or not. How many, first write the atoms present in the reaction. So what are the 2 atoms present in this reaction? carbon and oxygen. So these are the two atoms present in the reaction. So how many carbon atoms are present in the reactant part? Only one, right? How many carbon atoms are present in the product part? In the reactant parts, we are having only one carbon atom. In product also we are having one carbon atom. And no, see the second one, oxygen. How many oxygen atoms are present in the reactant? Two oxygen atoms. And in the reactant part we are having two oxygen atom. It means the reaction is completely balanced. Okay, see the third example. So this is the third example. Carbon, when carbon is combined with the oxygen, carbon is combined with the oxygen, just check whether it is balanced or not. So in the previous slide we already discussed, no? First write the name of the atoms which are present in the chemical reaction. What is that first element? The first one is carbon atom and second one is oxygen. So these are the atoms present in the chemical reaction. So how many atoms are there in reactant? Only one carbon atom. How many oxygen are present in the reactant? Two. Now count the number of atoms present in the reactant, present in the product. So only one carbon atom is present in product and only one oxygen is present in the product. So we need to balance oxygen here because carbon is already balanced. One atom is present in the reactant and one atom is present in the product, so it is already balanced. No? We need to balance the oxygen atom. So how many atoms we need here? One oxygen atom must be used to make another carbon monoxide, CO. But where did the other carbon come from? Let's see one by one. Must have started with two carbon atoms. To balance this reaction, we need to take two carbon atoms. By taking two carbon atoms and two oxygen atoms, we can easily combine. Okay, the next slide. So finally we get a product as, so this is the product. Here you are observing, so two carbon atoms. I'm taking 2 as a coefficient for carbon atom. When two carbon atoms are combined with the two oxygen atoms, it forms a 2CO. 2CO is a product of the reaction. So take one more example. So this is the fourth example. See the example, H2 plus O2. H2 plus O2. It forms a H2O. So first write the number of atoms present in the reactant and products. So what are the atoms existing in given reaction? First one, atoms. Second column is reactant. Third one is product. So what are the atoms are existing in the given reaction? Hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen, right? So how many hydrogen atoms are there in reactant part? 2. How many oxygen are present in the reactant part? Here you are observing 2, right? So now observe or count the number of atoms present in the product part. So two hydrogens are present, two hydrogen atoms are present in the product and only one oxygen. Here you are observing only one oxygen atom is present in the product. So what we need to balance here? Oxygen. Here oxygen is imbalanced atom. We need to balance the oxygen. Okay. So in the previous slide we already discussed in the reactant part. In the reactant parts we are having two hydrogen atoms and two oxygen atoms. In the product form or in the product part we are having two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. We need to balance the oxygen. It means needs twice as much oxygen in the product. So with the help of the coefficient we need to balance the given reaction. So change the coefficient of the oxygen. What we are already having in the previous slide, only one oxygen. So take, instead of one we can take 2 as a coefficient of oxygen atom. Okay, see here, 2 hydrogen atoms, 2 oxygen atoms, right? So 2 hydrogen and oxygen atoms are present in the part of reactants. Okay, in the part of product we are having 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So what we need to change? We need to change the oxygen atom. We need to change the oxygen atom. So change it first. Instead of 1 we can take a 2 atoms of oxygen. Now check it whether the reactants and products are having equal number of atoms or not. So 2 hydrogen atoms are present. 2 hydrogen atoms are present in the part of reactant. 2 oxygen atoms are present in the part of reaction. Similarly, in the part of product we are having 4, here 2 hydrogen atoms, and this 2 is also involving for the hydrogen. So totally we are having 4 hydrogen atoms and 2 oxygen. We are balancing the oxygen, but in the balancing of oxygen we need to change the one more, that is hydrogen. Here hydrogen will get unbalanced. We need to change the hydrogen. Okay, in the next slide, here see in this slide, 2 hydrogen atoms, 2 oxygen atoms. Now count the number of hydrogen and oxygen. Totally 4 hydrogens and 2 oxygens. Okay, see this one. Now recount the number of atoms present in this reaction. How many hydrogen atoms are present? 2 hydrogen atoms, right? 2 hydrogen atoms. Here 2 hydrogen atoms, we need to take 2 as a coefficient. By taking 2 as a coefficient we are balancing the given reaction. Here 2 hydrogen atoms, I take a 2 as a coefficient in front of the hydrogen atom, and 2 oxygen atoms. When these two are combined it form a water. 2 twice of the water, it means the 2 should be added in front of the water molecule. Now count the number of reactants and number of products. So how many hydrogen atoms are present here? 4 hydrogen atoms, right? In the part of product we are having 4 hydrogen atoms. In the part of reactant we are having 2 oxygen. Again where in the part of product we are having 2 oxygen. So it means here the complete balance of the reaction, we are having equal number of hydrogen and equal number of oxygen in both reactant as well as in the part of product. This is the way of balancing the reaction. Okay, so here you are observing this is the balanced reaction. What is that balanced reaction? 2H2 2H2 plus O2, 2H2 plus O2 it gives the product 2H2O. Okay, so here some examples are there. You need to balance these reaction. Take a screenshot of this one and balance the reaction. You need to take the screenshot of this one and balance the reaction. Okay, see in the next slide, skeletal reaction. Skeletal reaction. Skeletal reaction. What do you mean by the skeletal reaction? It is a opposite to balanced reaction. In the balanced reaction, we are having equal number of atoms present in the reactant part as well as in the product part. So that type of the reactions we call it as a balanced reaction. So skeletal equations are those equations which shows the reactants and products so formed without balancing them. It means it is completely, it is also known as a unbalanced equation. So unbalanced equations are called as a skeletal equations. For example, magnesium. Magnesium is combined with the oxygen. When magnesium is combined with oxygen, what it forms? In the previous slide we already discussed, no? When magnesium ribbon is burned in presence of oxygen, it forms a magnesium oxide. Just observe the given reaction, whether the number of magnesium and oxygen are equal in both reactant and product. No, in the reactant we are having one magnesium atom and two oxygen atoms are present in the reactant, but in the product we are having one magnesium atom and one oxygen atom. So here oxygen is completely imbalanced. We need to balance this reaction. So just balance this reaction. Okay, next one, hydrogen plus oxygen. Is it forms when hydrogen is added with oxygen? Can you get the water molecule, that is H2O? No, we need to balance. In the last slide we already balanced the water molecule. Okay, so these type of the unbalanced equations we call it as a skeletal equations. So unbalanced equation, how you can define the unbalanced equations? In the given reaction, if the number of atoms present in the reactant is not equal to the number of atoms present in the product, then that type of the reactions we call it as a unbalanced reaction or unbalanced equation. And one more name for the unbalanced equation is skeletal equation. Okay, so with the help of all these equations, chemical equations, we are having some advantages also. So what are the advantages? Why we need to represent the chemical reactions by using symbols and by using some specific compounds? We are having some advantages. See, a chemical equation for a reaction is easier to read quick. It shows all of the relevant information, quantities of the reactant and product. Quantities of the reactant products means how many atoms are present in the reactant part and how many atoms are present in the product part. It means how many atoms of the reactants are involving in this reaction and how many atoms are present in the product form. Okay, next one, the direction of the reaction and any catalyst. With the help of the chemical reactions we are having these type of the advantages. Okay, next one more is the representation of chemical reactions becomes very easy. It saves the time and space in the writing. Instead of the word formation, for writing the chemical equations in the word formation, it takes too much of time, and it takes too much of the space also. When we are going to be represent these reactions with the help of the chemical symbols, with the help of the chemical compound formulas, we take or we save our time and space also. Okay, and next one, in order to prepare the definite amount of the product, the amount of reactants to be used can be calculated accurately. And next, one more advantage is, that is, the same chemical symbols are used all over the world, and therefore the scientists face no difficult in the understanding of the chemical equations. Once I write the carbon and oxygen, it forms a carbon dioxide. This reaction is valid all over the world because we are using specific symbols for each and every elements. Okay, so these are the some advantages of chemical equation. Next one, if chemical equation having some advantages, it having some limitations or disadvantages also. So see the limitations. First one, do not reveal the condition under which reaction occurs. What happens in the some reaction, in some type of the reaction, we are not getting accurate product what we are going to be right now, so that product we are not getting. Next one, chemical equations can be written to describe changes that do not occurs. For example, if we are adding two substances, our final product should be in the solid form. Just our assumption only. The final product should be solid form, but it does not in the form of solid. Okay. Third one, chemical equations do not tell how fast reaction will be occurs. It means when we are using the catalyst, the rate of the reaction will be increases. Without supplying heat or without using catalyst, the reaction, how much time it will be take to complete the reaction, we don't know exactly, right? So this is the third advantages of chemical equations, right? We don't know exactly how much time it will take to complete the reaction, and what type of the catalyst we are going to be used in that chemical reaction to complete the reaction. Next one, factors not revealed by chemical equations can affect the relative amount of reactants needed or product producers. It means in sometimes the equal number of, we are not getting equal number of reactant and equal number of products. So these are the some disadvantages or limitations of the chemical equations. Okay, in the next class we are going to discuss some type of the chemical reactions. Till then, be happy, have a nice day. Thank you.